Hello, hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another co-author interview for the book Find Yourself, a guide to practice self-love, boost self-confidence, find your voice and use it authentically. The book will be launching in July on the 15th at 2 p.m. Central European time, and all of the authors will be present. So I know you have been with us since the beginning. Now we're going to talk with the 7th author, which you will also get to meet live on the 15th of July. I have the honor to talk with Lucia from Slovakia, who is now having a holiday in Cyprus. Thank you for coming, Lucia.
Thank you very much for having me, Laura.
Well,
it's a pleasure.
You're having a vacation right now, so this is like great stuff. We are melting in Germany, but this is not stopping us from having this amazing interview because the readers want to know all of the authors, and I do believe it is very important that every story gets out not only in writing but also in the interviews, not only this one but the future ones to come. So, Lucia, why don't you share a little bit about yourself? Because I know you've lived in a lot of places all over the world, and I'm very curious to find out more right now.
And I'm still traveling, as you can see. Yes, so as you said, I am from Slovakia, and I am in the coaching industry for last 2 years as I started working as a transformational coach and mindset coach, and I work internationally with women around the world, and I'm guiding them to find their true self, and as well helping them to overcome burnout, anxiety, and find a confidence to step up and find the power within.
So that was a very nice introduction, Lucia.
Very short.
I would like to share a little story to the audience because we've met in Frankfurt because you used to work there, and we had a lovely conversation. We had a nice stroll, and we discussed, of course, about our burnouts, because this is something that happened to us, something that happens to a lot of perfectionist women and men all over the world, and it is something that we need to know more about and try as much to prevent, because mental health is getting more and more important, as we can see in in the modern corporate world. So I know we've had a lot of fun, on this book project, and you were very excited from the beginning to share your story and share your coaching techniques. So why don't you share a little bit, what was your main motivation for finally, starting to write a book, and also what your chapter is about. The chapter is called From Burnout to Align. So maybe you can also give us more details on that.
Yes, sure. So yes, as you said, so we met because of the similar topic we discussed, and burnout was something which I was dealing with as well. So in my previous career, as I haven't mentioned, I worked in a corporate world for 10 years, and I was workaholic. I was very devoted workaholic, let's say, and perfectionist in many ways. And yeah, somehow, when you are so focused on your goal and you want to perform, and also our society kind of guides us toward that. So yeah, at some point I realized, like, the way how I felt, it's not okay, because at some point I started to be very tired, like extremely tired all the time, no matter how long I slept, and that was the point when I was looking for the weekend, and even the weekend was not enough. So, or looking forward to vacation, and then it was not enough, So I went through like very difficult time in my life when I had to kind of decide whether I want to lead the same way my life, or I want to change something about it. And it was actually funny enough, it was one of my friends who told me, like, don't you think that you might be burnout? And And the thing is that I was not conscious of that, you know, like, and this is something which made me kind of wake up and realize, like, so many women just, you know, push so much, and thinking that it's okay because everyone expects something from us, even as we expect so much to achieve. So there's so much pressure from outside, from inside, within ourselves, that we forget what it is all about. So it was a good wake-up call for me to realize, okay, stop. It's not really how I want to end up, like being really exhausted. And when you're burnt out, you kind of like don't want to even meet people, you know, like you want to be on your own, you want to completely isolate. So that was the stage I was in several times. And yeah, so I just decided, like, really I needed to reevaluate my journey, whether I wanted to continue. And I decided to step out of corporate world where I was leading the teams, and take this passion of working with people and use as well my knowledge and start, you know, working on myself, and through that self development, helping others as well. So I did the certificate, you know, I studied a lot, and then I just decided, like, yes, I think that's the thing I want to do. And I started helping women, especially with feeling the same way like I did, and to help them realize that life is not only about, you know, that hard work, because it's kind of like old belief to have to strongly be convinced that in order to get what we want, we need to work hard, because in its core essence, we are already enough. We are already, you know, perfect. And trying to basically even being more perfect, it's just impossible, because there is not even perfectionism. That doesn't exist. That's something we have created for ourselves to suffer more. So yeah, so I started using the techniques, and I started using neuro-linguistic programming and timeline therapy, which is beautiful technique, which has some elements of hypnosis as well. And then I did additional master certificate and hypnosis certificate, so I can even deepen my knowledge more and serve more my clients.
That is like a lovely story, like where it all began. And what I really loved what you said close to the end, you know, perfect or perfection does not exist. I think I do believe we have to keep saying that there is no such thing as perfect, and we should stop wanting things to be perfect. 90% should do, maybe 80%, sometimes 50% will do. So as long as we're doing something and we're doing something good. And you did a lot of stuff. So you're doing like your NLP masters and doing more studies into hypnosis so you can help your clients. I really love that. I love hypnosis. So for everybody who is new to self-development and thinking, what are they talking about? You know, this magic, you know, hypnosis. I remind you that I, for one, am a medical doctor. You know, I'm all about science. And I also thought it was, you know, it wouldn't work until I tried it, and it is incredible. And it's not the point. It's not to make you, you know, sound like a chicken, but
No, please.
Yeah, always chicken. No, it's, you know, hypnosis is just to really get into contact with your subconscious and then try to solve some things which don't really have to make sense on a logical level, but something inside of you will respond to certain techniques. So thank you again, Lucia, for incredible work. I really love all of your programs for women, that we do need to have more of the self-care part to our jobs, because, you know, a couple of decades ago, we jumped into the corporate world, and you know, from the kitchen, we jumped into the corporate world, but then we forgot to be women, and this is like really taking a toll on our lives. Definitely. So Thank you again for sharing. And what I want to ask you now is to share a little bit more, you know, how did it begin? Like a little story from your life with burnout. Maybe tell us something. How did you realize that you were in burnout, or what were the first steps? So the people who are listening to us, you know, they're like, yeah, definitely, I am there, or I was there, so they can really relate to what it feels like to be in the situation.
Yeah, so yeah, partially I mentioned that everyone kind of, you know, experience it differently. So it's not like everyone all fits into one box. So we need to also recognize that. But definitely there are some signs or symptoms we can say that that people can realize that, all right, I am already there, and or you know, I am heading to that, so that they can do something about it. So it's like, you know, burnout is basically prolonged stress, when you are constantly under stress, under the pressure, and it's like your body is trying to adjust, because you are putting a lot of pressure on yourself, and that's also emotional pressure. It's not only, you know, psychological, sorry, because you know, you need to deal with you most likely you work with people as well, so it means also, you know, you need to deal with emotions which come, we are also different people, so it's like emotional and psychological stress. And then obviously, if you are also not moving that much, you are just sitting in front of the computer, or just, you know, traveling a lot, there is also kind of stress for the body, because you don't move that much. So the, you know, you get, if you are in prolonged period of time in that stressful environment, then it can become kind of difficult to handle that, and you can start to feel like, as I said, you will be tired, but it means that's not like tired, you go to bed, you know, next day you're fresh, but basically you need to catch up on sleep more and more, and it seems like it's never enough. For me specifically, I was able to sleep like 12 hours in a row for the weekend, and when I wake up, I still didn't feel rested. It's just, for me, it was like all of a sudden that rest was non-existent. My body was not able just to relax enough, because it needed so much to catch up on all the time when I was under the stress, that, you know, 2 days or maybe 3 days sometimes was not enough. And then also going for vacation, yes, you go maybe for 1 week, 2 weeks. But in my case, even when I was on vacation for 1 week, 2 weeks, I was still thinking, I still was in my mind at work, you know. I was trying to control everything, even being outside of the office, and thinking, okay, I was checking the phone all the time, you know, like, okay, what is the message? What is the email? If I miss something, or maybe I should reply. What if somebody didn't reply? You know, all that stress around that. So instead of really resting, I was still thinking about what's coming, what is expecting me once I come back. So my body was not really relaxing at all. I was just giving more stress into the body, and my mind was going crazy. So if you are in that state, like you are not able to relax, to be, you know, in that calm state, then that could be the sign that you are really needing some rest, like proper rest. And for me, it was like, it started when I realized I'm really irritated, you know, like irritated by my colleagues. They said something, or I had to do something, and there was also deadline put it. So I noticed my irritation also. It was very heightened. And on the other hand, then I wanted to be alone all the time. Like, I was so exhausted that I just wanted to be alone. And that's also one of the signs, you know, like you need to rejuvenate. You need that rest, and it's impossible to do it if you are still surrounded by people, if you still are in that flight and fight mode. So that was kind of the signs which I should have noticed, but I didn't. So therefore I said, like, my friend was the one who kind of brought it up and asked me, like, yeah, do you realize like you might be burnout? Because I was also complaining all the time, I'm just tired, and my mood was up and down, like shifting from 1 hour to another. So a lot of mood swings, and that exhaustion, like, you know, like you all of a sudden you stop caring also around the world, about the world around you. You know, you kind of are apathetic, you know, just somehow whatever whatever happens. So these were kind of things which were collecting throughout the years, and once they exploded, and not having friend, you know, like telling me that, I probably wouldn't haven't even thought about it. And once she kind of, you know, brought it, and so then, okay, I had to think about all my priorities. I had to start thinking like how I can shift it. It was not easy, actually, because for someone who is like really in that mode of working, all of a sudden you just decide that you want to, you know, step aside. It's not that easy, especially if you are, you know, like devoted to your work, and you care about what you do, you care about what people you work with. It was very difficult for me to detach. And that was another thing which, you know, I work with clients to understand that there is no need to be everything for everyone, and value yourself for what you are. You don't need to prove anything more, because you are already perfect and enough the way you are. And, you know, there's all these things which for me, I had to experience it by myself so I could understand it better, and I could better help others to realize this. Because it's so easy to forget, you know, and it's not only about the corporate world, but it's many other things which come up, you know, from the way how we were raised, the environment we were growing up, our family, our, you know, friends. So everything altogether impacted me, impacted others. So it was not only about that corporate world, that it's tough or you need to prove or whatever. It was a lot of things underneath, a lot of hidden problems, or not problems. They were just, you know, situations I needed to heal. I needed to discover, to become conscious of them, so I could deal with them afterwards. And coming to that depth of knowing myself, it helped me a lot to step aside and say, all right, creating the boundaries, knowing that this is who I am, this is what I represent, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, I know what I value. So from that space, it's much easier to step out of, you know, that kind of toxic, if I can use that word, environment, and say like, all right, I don't want to do that anymore. And it helps to heal that, because burnout in the end is just that very deeply rooted fear of failing, of being rejected, of being not enough. That's all basically rooted there. So then when you look at that closely and you really start asking yourself like where this comes from, and you recognize your wounds, you know, your kind of traumas as well. Everyone has different stories, but if you recognize them, you are able to transcend them. You can work on them. And then, of course, on the long term, on the long run, you can also heal the burnout, or you don't go there anymore because, you know, you are already a complete being. So I guess that would be the nutshell of
Yeah,
story.
In a nutshell, you know, how one comes to get burnout, and how one realizes that one has this particular, let's say, yeah, illness, because it is an illness, you know, medically it's a disease, and it's getting, you know, getting more and more attention as people are speaking up. And this is what I want to tone now. Talk to somebody, you know, like you were, let's say, saved, like a little bit saved let's say saved, yeah, saved by your friend, because she raised the question.
Mm.
Because for me it was like, I knew I was going through that. I knew I was like, okay, maybe it is, but you don't want to admit, because admitting that you have burnout is admitting that you are a failure in
Yeah.
life. So
Mm.
that's what happened to me until I had a breakdown.
Yeah.
So, you just carry on, and nobody, my husband told me that something is wrong, but I didn't want to believe, and it was very bad when, the breakdown hit. So we want to help people who are in burnout avoid a breakdown, or, avoid getting burned out altogether. And it's exactly like you said. So this is your story, and it's a typical one for people who want to prove themselves, to prove to
Mm.
everybody else, or the universe, that they are worthy, and that they are good, that they're
Yeah.
good people, and they can do a lot of stuff. So now we have a great question from Melanie, because it's very good is now with the subject. She says, could you explain what work is all about? Because at the beginning you said we keep forgetting, when we're burnt out, we forget what work is all about. And I do
Mm.
believe that really giving a good answer to this question will help a lot of people, raise other questions in their head, or have realizations. Oh, okay, so this is actually work, and what it means, to have self-care. What does this mean? Self-love, self-confidence, and whatnot. So what is your opinion? What is work all about?
So yes, it has different elements, and you mentioned already one of them, like self-care and self-love, because everything starts within ourselves. To recognize that no matter the outer circumstances, we are already, perfect in a sense. So recognizing that there is okay to take time for yourself. It's okay to say no and set the boundaries. That was a big thing for me, just to say no, I will not do that, and not feeling guilty about it, right? Because many people, like, they would rather say, it was me as well, saying yes all the time, just because I feel like, I will fail them, and I will not be included anymore. So I rather said yes all the time. So all these elements are part of being okay with who I am, and recognizing, yes, I am whole already, and I don't need to change anything about me unless it's necessary, and I voluntarily consciously want to change something about it. That's additional work on top of that. But first of all, really realizing who I am in my core, and be okay with that, make peace with myself, with all my shadows, if I may use, because we have both. We have, that we can say these beautiful parts of ourselves, and we have parts which we are not completely okay. But important is to balance them out, and again, to become conscious about them. So balancing out our traits, our personality, or whoever we are, and start loving who we are in the wholeness. It's basically the work. It's all about this, basically, to work on ourselves, to find that self-love, to care about ourselves, to give time to heal, to work, to rest, to be with family, to set the time, and enjoy the life. Because many times I ask my clients, like, all right, because they are also in that in that state, like they feel like they need to prove, and they need to work more just to prove that they can do something. And I oftentimes ask them, like, okay, so imagine yourself being like 90 years old, and you would just look back and ask yourself, and say to yourself, oh, I'm so happy that I worked so hard, because and then they look at me and it's like, yeah, nobody says that. Nobody would ever be happy because they work so hard. So it's a good self-reflective exercise to see, like, all right, and not even maybe 90 years, but 10 years ahead, to see myself, do I still want to be there, knowing that nothing will change us, I just keep going on, and yeah, I will just do what I've been doing, and still be okay with that. If you are not okay being in the same place in 10 years time, then something should change, and it's better start now than later. And of course it takes time. It's not one night thing. It takes courage as well to look within, to recognize everything what is inside, and be willing to work on it and change it if we want to change it.
What a powerful message. You know, it takes courage to admit that you haven't worked on yourself in a while. And I really loved how you said it at the beginning. The real work in life is work on yourself. It's not really the work or your job. That's not, you know, the whole point of living. But the point of living is, you know, the work on yourself, self-development, self-growth. And, you know, just to sum it up a little bit for people who are coming in later, like we were talking about, you know, what is work all about? And we know the saying, do you work to live or live to work? And you really have to think about that, you know, because yeah, you go to a job because maybe you want to have money to pay for your rent, but you really have to draw those boundaries, you know, like you said, this is a powerful word, boundaries. You know, when do I let my colleagues call me after work? Do I let my boss call me after work? Do I think about work when I'm on holiday? So that those are unhealthy boundaries, you know, which lead to burnout. So definitely the most important work in life is the work that we do on ourselves. So that was very nice of you to put it like that. Now, because you already told us a little bit, you know, about self-confidence, self-love, accepting you for who you are, and that is definitely a problem where a lot of our clients have issues. So self-love is number one. It's hiding between every word that they say, and then I say, okay, so in the end, you have feel of failure and you're not good enough, you know. So share with us your best tip in life coaching or life coaching people with burnout, or your best exercise. What do you think that the people watching now, you know, could use in their daily life to promote a little bit of self-care?
Well, yes, there would be many things which I could mention, but I will mention the easiest one, basically, because what I always find interesting that, and for me as well, like as I said at the beginning, like that self-realization, self-awareness, that many times we do things automatically on autopilot without thinking, you know, about it. We just do it and not really feeling what, yeah, exactly. We are not feeling why we are doing it. So I would just given this suggestion to daily self-reflect on your daily activities and really connect with yourself. It's just super simple. It just means like 10 minutes to sit down, close your eyes, and think about your day, like where you are and where you want to be, and feel into it. What are and observe the emotions which comes up, like really going deep and just listen to your body, listen to emotions which comes up. Like if you ask your questions, okay, am I on the right path? Should I change something? Listen to that. And the more you do that, tune to yourself, into yourself, the more answers you will get. Because the thing is, we majority of the day we think we do stuff from our mind, from the logical mind, because we want to, you know, give meaning to things. So many times it's not that emotional stuff, like okay, how am I feeling right now, or we are trying to avoid it. That could be also option. So I would just advise for whoever is listening that just really tune into your emotion, and even write it down, because sometimes, like simple question you ask yourself can give you a lot of hints once you start writing down and let it flow. When you flow in that moment, then you get all the answer you need to have. And that's what is important, because in the end, yes, we are helping others to find their path. We are helping, guiding them, giving them tips, tools, techniques. But in the end, it's you, it's all of us listening who have answers within. So it's just about giving you right direction, but in the end you have to do the exercise. You have to write down what is happening inside of you. You need to understand that in order to make the right choices for you, because what is right for me, what is right for you, Laura, is not the same like what will be right for someone else.
Yep.
So very simple but super powerful. And I can guarantee everyone that you will get the answers. The more you practice it, the better answers you get from yourself.
Yeah, so this is like the number one rule in life coaching. The client has to come up with their own answers because they know what's best for them. And sometimes they want the answers from us, and we're like, I can be, like here, I can try to be impartial, but maybe I won't have the best advice, because everything, the answers are already in your heart, but you are afraid, whatever the reason, to let it out, to really admit, okay, I have to quit my job, maybe fear of failure. That is why you're not quitting your job, you're not leaving your job, because you're scared, but the answer is there. And it has always been to any question that the client has. So there you go, like the best tip for self-care: reflect upon your day. This is either like through meditation, if it's guided by a life coach, or you make it yourself. And also you mentioned down writing things down, which is a little bit like journaling. So journaling can also help people to get the stuff out of their head, and put them into logical words, so they understand what the emotion was all about. Because sometimes we cannot vocalize, and that's why we have to keep writing, and then we will be amazed at the stuff that really comes out. So that was a great session. So thank you, Lucia. We really learned a lot today about burnout, and how to discover, how what signs to look for in ourselves or our friends and family, and also what to do about it. Do you have any, final remarks before we end our interview? Something you want to share with the audience?
Yes, very simple thing or sentence, like follow your heart. You already said it. Because our answers are really within, and I know that there is a lot of outside noise where everyone, has own opinion, and everyone knows things better, or it seems that they know better. But in the end, it's about your own journey. And even if you go through burnout or any other difficulties, I tend to say that, these difficulties are our lessons in life, because they want to teach us something that we are here to learn and experience. So take it from that side, that it is important for you to go through that, and also knowing that you always are powerful enough to overcome that.
Powerful last remarks. Thank you, Lucia, from Slovakia. Okay, so we have people from Europe. That was our 7th life coach, for this interview, the 7th co-author of the book, How to Find Yourself, launching on the 15th of July. So I hope all of you love this interview. You can contact Lucia on her website and her email address. We're going to put it down soon after this interview. It's going to be on the video once uploaded to YouTube, and you can contact her and see what else she is doing. You can read her amazing chapter in the book called From Burnout to Aligned, where she shares a little bit more about her life story, and of course a lot of techniques for self-care. I really love them, so I was like, yeah, this is what I do. I do that too. I do that too, and a couple of new things that I am doing right now so I can improve my well-being, right? You know, when we're getting out of the pandemic, we really have to have all of this energy and be ready to face the world. Yeah, we were socially isolated, and now a lot of people are coming, and we have to have the energy to you know, support that, you know, to really confront everything that's happening after this this situation. So thank you again, Lucia, for joining us.
Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you for your time, for having me. It was amazing.
And thank you again for the great audience. Like I said, you will meet us again live on the 15th of July when we have our book launch at 2 p.m. Central European time. The book is going to be at a reduced price, as a special price for the launch, because this is what we want. People who are really motivated to get it, they can get it as an ebook on Amazon and just go through it and read it and get all the best self-care tips and self-love tips that all of these 11 authors, you know, could crop up and put into the book. So thank you again, Lucia. Thank you again for the beautiful audience. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.